Check, check, check. All right. What up, folks? Just testing out his stream here. I got to do some research on some of these older builds I have for a project a friend of mine is doing. And I thought I would just look through them live with you guys. So if you happen to be watching and you're familiar with the game, you'll get to see what the game looks like super early on. Just give me a sec, just testing some feeds just here. Look through them live with you guys. So if you happen to be watching and make sure you're familiar with the game. All right, I have two keyboards to control here, so I want to make sure I don't I almost deleted all my files right now by accident using the wrong keyboard, so luckily that worked. Okay. Let me just start up the chat. In case any of you guys have any questions. And I'm going to go through some super early versions of the game just to see how they hold up. So I'm going to just log in. Audrey, I didn't even know you were in here. Give me a sec, guys. I gotta let my cat out. Hold on. Come on. Let me open the door. All right, well, knowing her, she's gonna want to come right back in. But anyways, all right, so that didn't log me in. Okay. Managing all this stuff is always a pain in the ass. All right. So I actually, for those of you who actually got to see the game and know basically the story of it, I started it in GameMaker, so we'll start with that version first, since GameMaker is, that GameMaker version is that might actually be the first version, the first build I ever made, so let's go ahead and try this. Bring the cat back. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I didn't even know she was in here. She just randomly popped out. Okay, so this is the GameMaker version, which, fuck. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, so also let me know if the audio is too loud over the talking or whatever. But yeah, this is in GameMaker. So if I remember correctly, I don't even have gamepad controls. It was all basically just keyboard and mouse because I didn't even know how to program a gamepad at that time. It was kind of a pain in the ass. Actually, I'll try it. Let's see. Yeah, nope. So let's see. All right. So actually, you can even tell this was before I even came up with the idea of just fully calling the game a dual hand disaster tracker. This dual hand disaster movement was actually, honestly, just I came up with the name as like a, there's a band I played with a long time ago called Dance Disaster Movement. And I just thought that was fucking cool. Like, it's a dumbass fucking name. But the movement part was just like, oh, it makes sense with the game, but yeah, that's really the only reason I had it like that. And then dual was actually spelled correctly here. or the way most people expect it to be, but I obviously changed it to duel because I thought it just made more sense. Duel in the sense of, you know, your hands are dueling with each other. So let's go ahead and start this up here. Again, this is keyboard and mouse. So originally when I designed the game, I also wanted it to be, I'm actually gonna get some old school ideas I had. I'm gonna remember some of the stuff I used to have in mind when I was designing this thing. So I guess it was the first run, second run. From the beginning, I always wanted you to be able to just start the game. So I wanted you, like, I wasn't even sure I was gonna do cutscenes and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff was kind of in the back of my head, but I wanted you to, like, first run would actually make you go through the tutorial. Second run would let you just start the game. Like, it would just throw you right into it. I honestly don't even know if that's working right now, but I'll do first run anyway. So you could tell, obviously, this was this is Game Maker, so I wanted it to just be quick and simple and very basic graphics. Like, honestly, when I first started the game, a lot of this stuff was also just like white ships. They weren't even colored, they weren't 8-bit or anything like this. It was just like Tetris kind of, blocks or whatever. So this was kind of showing you clear the rubble, dodge and survive. So the controls are basically still the same. A and D is left and right, shoot is W. Again, just let me know if the audio on the volume on the mic is too loud. It seems okay here, but I can't ever tell on the stream. But so it's not keyboard, it's not mouse. Okay, there we go. So yeah, the arrows on the keyboard are moving the right ship, shoot on the right. So the idea is still there. It's basically the same. So let's see. It starts. Oh, yeah. So also I put click on the spacebar. It's obviously not working. I need to click on it. So there you go. The neat thing here with that is I kind of actually did go back to that. You'll see when I get to the actual current version of the game that I went back to that idea of doing the kind of like having the name just pop up at the beginning. Originally what I wanted it to do is just kind of like fade in the name, just Trackher, because that's obviously what you're doing in the game is you're tracking her, you're tracking that ship on the right hand side, which is the most important ship. But yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, obviously I didn't know how to program movement on the enemies on the left, which right now they're just kind of barrels, because it's barrels of fun. So yeah, you just kind of destroy everything, and the original idea was you basically had levels. So if you notice on the ship, this is level 1. Your destruction is what's being tracked. So there you go. So you made it to 2. Let's go ahead and continue. So now she pops up on the right hand side. So this was kind of like a, I don't know, I guess a weird way to get it to, hey, what's up, Jeremy? This was just a kind of a way to tell stories, sort of. So like, you know, you're killing enemies, you're trying to figure out where she is. So you move her around, still destroy stuff on the left. And those are some cheese-ass particle effects in Game Maker also. Let me actually put the volume down on this a little. On my end, it's actually a little too loud. There we go. Okay. So yeah, kill some enemies again. Let's go through. There's only 6 levels in this really early build. But you start to see, like, okay, now you have to start dodging the enemies on the left. Whoa. And I don't know, from the very beginning, I thought this was a cool idea. So I just kind of kept going on this and figured out ways to try and get the player to, like, just challenge him a little more. So now this level starts with the ball already there, or the meteor, and then another one pops in as soon as I clear half of these enemies, I think. Yeah. So then you just got to keep, whoa! All right, so that, I mean, again, that is the idea, right? So the second you die, granted, I didn't have a health bar or anything, it was just an instant death. It was fun, it was cool, but it wasn't, you know, as challenging. It wasn't, there was no progression. Like, yeah, this was cool if I was just gonna release it real quick to release a dumbass idea. But I really wanted to push more, push the player a little more. So, and you can tell the graphics are a little super simplistic, that scrolling thing. When I figured out how to make that thing scroll on the left-hand side, like, it blew my mind that I was able to get that. And for anyone who's familiar with programming, that's not that hard at all. But you have to remember, for someone who just dropped out of school, had no idea how to make a game, the ability to even just get any of this crap going was surprising. Let's see. Let me just see if I can get past the 6. Oh, fuck. Okay. And obviously that Princess is another level, is just a Super Mario Brothers reference. So you want to clear these out as soon as you can. Fuck. Alright, and I think that's it. No? Okay, this might be the last one. And originally the idea was, whoa, yeah, I think it won't go to 7. Yeah, so this is where the game just stopped. And I just kept building off of this. The reason I switched over from GameMaker, though, is because at the time, and for those of you who are familiar with it, at the time, GameMaker didn't support PlayStation Vita, and I had to move the game over to Unity. So this might be the only build I have of the GameMaker version. We'll see. I'll go through some of these here. But let's go ahead and quit. Okay, so it does actually just kick you right out. So let me see what happens if you click second run. Okay, yeah, see, so it skips the tutorial, the, quote-unquote tutorial at the beginning. Okay, so yeah, that's that version. Notice that's 0.2.0.2, so that was a long-ass time ago. I'll try and go through these in order here. If you can see, obviously, this is the build I submitted to Indie Fund. So you guys are going to see some pretty terrible versions of this game. But it's all the learning process. Let's see. Those are all in my Dropbox, so I don't want to just make a bunch of Dropbox syncing errors and stuff. So, all right. Actually, I think this might be a GameMaker version too. Oh no. This is okay. So this is going to be the first version on, what is it called? Oh yeah. Well, it's come a long way, man. It's been a while. Yeah, I think I showed this. I might have the first time I showed this to anybody kind of in the public was, I guess, at the panel at PAX South. I might be wrong. I don't remember. But yeah, so this is probably the first version on Unity, 0.4.2. So this one will have more audio. Notice the window, like it starts off in the little window too. That's also something that took me a while to learn. Was how to make, I think at this point I was forcing the resolution to a certain resolution. So since I started it on Vita, the resolution was like 960 by 540 or something. Because I didn't know if the Vita could do 1280 by 720, which I think the Switch does. Actually, the Switch definitely does 720 undocked, and then if you dock it, I think it does 1080p. But anyway, yeah, so this was the first version I had running on the Vita, so that was awesome. So yeah, if you notice here, I obviously, the font's been changed since then too. Yeah, I honestly don't know what else. All of this is just particle effects. I started to do the Dual Hand Disaster name, but I still had movement in here. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly what made me remove the movement part of it, outside of it just being that dumbass reference to the band. But yeah, let's see if this works. This one should actually have controller support. So for those of you also who are familiar, when I did the panel, I was talking about using a asset from the asset store called Rewired. Before I started using Rewired, I actually was using an asset from the asset store called In Control. And In Control was super cool. the thing with In Control, that the reason I switched over to Rewired is because Rewired lets you hot plug controllers. Like, I'm not talking shit about In Control. As a matter of fact, In Control might actually have changed since then. So it might actually support hot plugging of any controller, but hands down, Rewired supports anything. So if you really wanted to, I want to try it, but I haven't tried it. You could actually control like a steering wheel and like one of those HOTAS kind of like joysticks that you use to control helicopters and shit like that in like, what do you call it? Like Battlefield and all sorts of, you know, airplane simulators and stuff. And you could control Trackher that way too, on PC anyway. Obviously on console, it's a different story. But so yeah, let's see if this works. And it totally did. So this is, again, I was telling you guys about at the panels and stuff and people I've met like at PAX. There is a story to the game, but I've kind of taken it out because I wanted to, I still don't even know if I want to include it or not, so. Let me just see this for now.
Cover the material and bring her back. That was my mission. Zastris is known for its disruptive electronic fields. I've lost control of my ship, but something, someone, some outside force has taken control. It seems friendly. This is how it began.
So yeah, that's super cheeseball. This actually might have the tutorial that I think I mentioned to some people before. It has the voiceover thing, yeah.
Let's do this. Use the left stick to move.
Okay, so yeah, it's working. Controller's totally working.
Get a feel for her. Moving uses fuel, so keep an eye on your fuel gauge up top. Capture the cells to refuel.
If you notice, look at the ship, and when I get to a certain point, it flickers because it's trying to. I hadn't figured out the animation yet, so I had to reset it. There we go. So it's left shoulder.
Okay. Now chain 3 with a single shot, each for a multiplier.
Lost multiplier.
Fuck. Okay. So yeah, and then, you know, I've gone over this with some people before as the idea of a tutorial. I kind of don't want to slow the game down at all, but it's really difficult to figure out how much is too much to explain, you know? I don't want people to kind of jump in and have that thing of like, well, when's the game gonna start? Like, how long is this taking, whatever. Like, granted, you see right there, it tells you you can move on whenever you want, but I've had people play this version of the game, well, back in the day, of course, and they weren't paying attention to that. Like, it tells you on the screen to hit X to pass. So yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and hit X and move on. Or actually, it's the Xbox controller, so it's A. Then this part.
Mayday. This is a reclaimer. The Trackher module has taken heavy damage. It needs repair. I've lost control of the ship. She's being controlled by some outside force. It's kept me alive so far. It seems friendly. I mean, it listens to me.
I don't know who or what you are, but thanks. Let's get started. Use the right stick to move. Great. Now hold down the right shoulder to slow down time. Moving while slowing down time will allow me to move faster than everything else around me.
So yeah, if you notice, this is still top down. I'm using lights on the ship, which when I was able to get that look, like obviously Game Maker doesn't use lighting, at least not that I remember. So a lot of this stuff is just like experimenting with stuff. So a lot, like that fog look, you know, little things like this that I'm remembering that I took out might actually look pretty cool on the current version, but I'm still not 100% sold on whether to do that or not. But you could tell the UI is different because I had the, you know, status apparatus on the top. That's the right ship's health bar. People who have played this, like at PAX and stuff, have always asked about, you know, like, hey, so how do I know what the health is on the right bar? So on the right ship, and I used to have it on the screen, but again, once the game starts up, like people don't notice that kind of stuff, right? And the time dash was a thing that, fuck, even back in this day, that's weird.
Make sure to avoid fireballs and fire pits at all costs. The transport system has already been damaged. Anything more? Well, you get the idea.
So I used to have the time dash.
Retrieving material is the mission. But getting out alive is the objective. Recover as much of it as possible. The markers will
Man,
move
this
straight
is
to
so
it,
crazy.
And time dashing will get me there faster.
Retrieved.
So yeah, the whole time dashing thing, you actually activate it at will. You hold the right trigger. What's up, Alan?
That's enough for now.
You actually hold the right trigger on this one. Right shoulder anyway.
Forward and leave the planet safely. Remember, parts will take much longer to retrieve.
Yeah, this is just so slow. I mean,
Okay, when you're ready to move on, press X.
yeah, so again, this is just to kind of get you used to knowing that what you have to pick up. Obviously, the markers are there. They're marking the resources on the map. The fireballs, you could obviously tell, are like super shitty looking. All of this art is 2D. None of it is 3D. So it's just, you can see like it has a 3D, it has depth, but it doesn't. Yeah, there's nothing. There's no 3D objects in this, and you can kind of tell how obviously that looks super shitty, but there's no, like depth to it. I don't know. It actually kind of has a really interesting look though. But oh fuck, yeah, no camera shake. Man, this stuff was so hard to figure out. And again, it's a small screen just because it was a resolution for the what do you call it? The Vita. So let's just skip through this and see.
This planet will self-destruct at any moment. If push comes to shove, you can abandon the mission by holding down the left shoulder button and pressing up on the D-pad. It'll destroy the planet and take...
This is my game, Alan. This is a game I'm working on. I'm just going through super early builds of the game because I need to do research for a project that I'm doing for a friend on the game. And I just thought I would stream it since I'm going through all these early builds.
I'm detecting a particle transport nearby.
But this isn't the final version of the game. This is just kind of what the game looked like when I first started working on it. And I mean, it's changed a lot since I first started working on it. Like, obviously the UI has changed, but the controls feel different too. So the ships, they're more arcadey, they're more like direct. So moving is instant, where now I have a little more weight on the ships.
You can use your pulse to line up your shots.
So by slowing down time, I'm actually allowing you to kind of like line up your shot and stuff, which is kind of cool. But man.
Lost multiplier.
Yeah, because man, everything is so quick.
Lost multiplier.
I've forgotten the controls were so fast. But that frame rate, huh? Holding up. But again, you can totally see the mechanics of the game. Everything is still there. You're still just shooting your enemies on the left. That's how you multiply your points, but none of the bonuses are there. Like you do get a multiplier, but let me see if I can start it. And then if you miss, it instantly resets it. So, and the slowdown time in this version of the game was infinite. So as long as you hold the trigger down, you're always gonna have the time mechanic. So yeah, there's my multiplier, and there was no cooldown on the multiplier. All it was reliant on was whether you chained it or not. So like right there, I lost it.
Lost multiplier.
Yeah, if it didn't connect with an enemy, you'd lose it.
Lost multiplier.
You could tell the enemies down here, if you let them go, they start to disappear the second they hit the bottom of the screen, where I kind of fixed that later on. As a matter of fact, let me see what happens if they run into you. Yeah, that's shitty as hell. I didn't even add like any kind of
Lost multiplier.
animation to it because, man, just getting it to this state was super hard. Okay, well,
Multiplier.
I don't remember. Let's see, I think I need 4 of these. I'm trying to remember how to end this version of it. I guess I don't have to,
Material
but...
retrieved.
I'm gonna try and see what happens if I make it large, full screen. See if that works. Oh shit! All right. Well, you can tell it totally cuts out the screen though.
Material retrieved.
Okay.
Material retrieved.
Trying to remember parts. Okay, so I need
Lost multiplier.
parts. Parts are.
I can sacrifice this part to send out a beacon. Hold right shoulder and press triangle now.
Right shoulder. Oh, that's right. Huh. Alright, well, the game just froze, so I honestly don't know what happened there. But, yeah, that's that version of the game. Let's see. This version might not be too different. Oh, there we go. I guess it just froze. Right shoulder and triangle. Ah, there we go.
Sarah,
That's
this is an
right.
HID assault vessel. If you can hear us, once you find all 4 parts of the transport module, send out a final beacon so we can get the fuck out of Dodge. Got it?
See, like that. Voiceover is awesome, but
Material retrieved.
I just don't think it slows the game down because now you gave it direction, and by giving it direction, you kind of
Lost multiplier.
it's no longer a game based on score and like leaving with your score because now there I don't know I feel like there's just something you're expecting. So it can't be arcadey anymore if that makes sense. Let's see. Go get these parts so we can end it. Might as well, right? The whole point of the game. So you could even tell the Z-axis on that part. You could tell is on top of the ship, which is something I needed to fix also. Man, that is some crazy looking shit. And also, this was a thing I got a lot of criticism for. Also, was when you come off of the part, it resets. So, yeah, I actually changed that quite a while back, but I got a lot of feedback in terms of that. And it's true, if you kind of move off a part and it resets, it kind of does become like kind of a pain in the ass. What's up, Raul?
Lost multiplier.
Material retrieved.
Yeah, I'm just going over the old versions of the game, man.
Lost multiplier.
Just showing how far it's come. And even then, like to me, it's starting to feel like a game now. But even this version, like, holy shit, like there's still some stuff there that I'm thinking back on it. I'm just like, how the hell did I figure this out? But yeah, in terms of like, I can tell you guys are friends because fuck, no one ever told me, fuck dude, that looks fucking terrible.
Repair successful.
Lost multiplier.
Let's see. All right, I need one more part and then we can get the fuck out of here. The voiceover also, the guy version was obviously me. The girl version was my friend Clarissa. And obviously that was more just to kind of, so you start to think of, right, voiceover. So
Send out a final beacon.
yeah, so for example, the controllers, yeah,
And hold down
left
the right shoulder button.
shoulder,
Okay, hold
up
Now press
and Y.
triangle.
Okay, so that's it. That's how you would exit back then. Obviously, it's all shitty. There's no, no animation to the game over screen, and that was there for a while. Again, that was primarily to, yeah, dude, super early build. I started off with the Game Maker version, so this is still even better than this. But yeah, in terms of like the game over screen, the reason I wanted it to just kind of kick in like that super fast is I wanted speed. I wanted it to just be show me my stats, show me my score. Now if I wanted to. So right now again, this was a build. I don't think this actual build was the one I submitted, but it was close to the one I was going to use for indie fund and stuff like that. So it just sends you right back to the title screen. So yeah, even this fucking title screen has changed dramatically ever since I got further along. But yeah, let's go ahead and quit this one. And let's try another build here. So I'm glad this stream's holding up. It was crapping out on me not too long ago. So, okay, let's delete that one. So that was 0.4.2. Oh yeah, shit, that was for Indiecade. So yeah, that I was working all, yeah, basically, man, for a long time. And that was my first submission for an event, if I remember correctly. So imagine someone getting that build and being like, holy shit, this guy wants to show his game at PAX, you know, like, oh, thanks, Tyler. Respect, man. Yeah, so, you know, that was the first build I made. The PAX 10, I think is the exact same version. So let's see, that was 2014. I don't want to jump too ahead to the Indie Fund version yet, but I just kind of want to see what the differences are. Let's see. No, that's a PS4 version. Let me double check. Yeah, so those are PKG files. Okay, let's see what 0.5 is. Let's see how different that is. If it's not too different, I'll just skip over to another one. That was kind of the whole point of the thing at PAX South, Tyler, was the idea of showing how the game, like, you know, there are people who have games like this. Like, yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't the greatest looking game when I submitted it to Indiecade back then, but I still figured, like, what the hell, you know, why not? Because I felt like the gameplay was there. But if you can tell, like, well, I mean, you can't because you're not playing it, but the controls feel a lot more not refined, I would say. Like they just feel really quick, like responsive, which is good, but it didn't feel right. Like there was something about it that didn't feel right. So let's see what this version is. Okay, so this was the first version I did in 1080p then. Let's do fantastic. Yeah, these are some early ass builds, man. Oh, that frame rate. And this PC is running on a 1080, so yeah, I hope this isn't the frame rate. I hope it's just the game being shit. So what version was it? 0.5? Let's see if the controller works in this one. Because again, one of them, when I started the game, when I started the Unity version of the game, I already had PlayStation 4 dev kits. So a lot of these control commands or prompts are based on like the PS4 controller. So that's why it says options. Yeah, that totally works. That frame rate is fucking terrible though. Oh yeah, fuck! So I forgot about this. Like, so that was missiles back in the day. That fucking plasma, look at how shitty that looks, man. Yeah, so that's your left trigger. So if you guys remember, I was talking about the controls being way more complicated back in the day. So on the left-hand side, let me see, yeah. So left trigger is your scatter shot. Actually, it's not the plasma cannon, that's your scatter shot. That's what I was trying to go for, was the idea of shooting out like a plasma orb or something, right? And then when it hits something, it would just spread out and then just keep spreading the further an enemy, like more enemies it hit. So, okay, so this is what I did. Notice up on the top, on the left-hand side, you tap the left bumper and you switch between your weapons. So all of your weapons are on the left trigger. So these are your missiles. So you have a targeting system which lets you know it's gonna hit. So then you just let go. No. One of these, maybe I don't have them yet. I have scatter shot. Okay, so that's the repeater. And you can tell that's when I started to add camera shake too. It's super subtle. You can't really tell because the frame rate itself is just kind of crappy. But yeah, so that's your repeater. It's on the left trigger. Tap the left bumper, switches to missiles, but I don't have them yet, so I think I need to unlock them. And on the right-hand side, yeah, same old thing. But you can tell it's a lot darker. Let me see. I think capturing these are what's going to upgrade it like normal. Oh, also, yeah, every time you would get those power cells, it would refuel your ship too. So a lot of this stuff has actually changed. Keep hitting. I'm used to the controls already for the other version. Ugh. And yeah, there's no rumble in this version either, so when I'm getting hit, I don't know I'm taking damage on the right side unless I'm looking over there. Which my excuse back in the day was always like, oh, well, yeah, that's kind of the point, but that was, as I said, just an excuse. I hadn't figured out how to get rumble to work or how to really add more animations for letting you know what the hell is actually going on. But let me see, this should kill you. Yeah, see, there's no, outside of you just seeing your health bar go down, you kind of can't tell you're taking damage from that. But let's see what happens if you die. I wonder if it crashes the game. Okay, see, so nothing happened, and damn, that's jacked. See, you can pause the game. Reset by, yeah. Whoa, I don't know what the hell happened there. Okay, I'm gonna hit B, A. Okay, so that takes you there. All right. So, okay. I don't know why it's coming here. I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, so that's version 0.5, I guess. Let's start up another one. Right now I'm currently on 0.9.3.1, I want to say. I might have actually bumped it to 0.94, but I can't remember. Okay, so let's move on to 0.8.9. Oh, okay. So this, for E3 2015, so that Indiecade version here was the version I showed. It was, let's see, Indiecade. So then 0.8.9 was the one I showed at E3. This one might be the version that has the leveling up of your weapons, which was actually kind of crazy. So let's see. Let's see what the README says. Pause menu and game controls. Okay, so left bumper is your missiles. Left bumper hold. Oh, fuck, that's right. The big red object. So this was, I actually threw this in there where you would shoot out. You know how the what is it? The joke in video games is that if you shoot the red barrels, like they always explode. So my buddy Barry was like, "Where are your red barrels?" Just kind of like throwing out a dumb joke, right? And like, I just thought it was funny. So I figured, oh shit, I actually can, throw in some red barrels and just kind of be dumb about it. So I did that. I went ahead and threw in a red barrel, which you kind of hold down the left bumper and it just kind of deploys it. And then you actually have to shoot it with a missile to blow up the screen. And that was the beginning of, on the left-hand side, having like the nuke, where you kind of clear out the enemies and just get all your points or whatever. And on the right-hand side, I don't think, let's see, right. Yeah, I do have the BFP. Yeah, so this was close to the build, let me see, 2015 it was, right? I did PAX South in 2016. Okay, so this might have some of the PAX South stuff in it, where basically you have your BFP, but when you would deploy the BFP, it would actually clear out the screen on the right-hand side, so anything that was coming at you, whatever, would totally destroy it. But what it would also do is it would reset the layout. So the layout of where the fire towers are in this version are, they're basically, like randomized. And every time you would use a BFP, it would reset the layout of all of the fire towers. So that was cool, but the problem with that was since it would change out the layout at random, and it was a super early version, like I hadn't yet figured out how to really code in a proper way to spawn them. They would spawn sometimes in like a cluster that was really close to each other. So you would have like these 4 quadrants. The map was like spread out in 4 quadrants, and it would actually have like the 4 quadrants would spawn a certain amount, anywhere from like, I think it was 0 to 8. And if you happen to get a seed where it would just spawn in 1 quadrant, then the whole other side of the map was completely empty. So you would also be spawning, you know, your what do you call them? The material would start to spawn, and if it would spawn up in the area where there was no danger, it was shitty, because then like the game just got like super boring at that point, right? Where, you know, you just kind of, there was just no challenge. So let's see. Uses awareness. Okay, so this is when I started introducing awareness to the game, and the danger sensor unlocks 12 parts have been retrieved. Slow down time. Okay, so this is where I started using being able to sacrifice. Oh, so I used to do parts. Damn, I forgot about that. All right, so okay, so this was basically the README to judges, so that the jurors or whatever of the game for Indiecade. So let's see what this is. Yeah, same old thing, not windowed. Let's do full screen. And this was also using the free version of Unity. This whole time I've been using the free version of Unity. You could tell trial version there. The frame rate seems better here. Yeah, you can't skip the... I hadn't quite figured out how to skip this yet, so... Yeah, totally. So this is the version I had at Indiecade in 2015, I guess. Yeah, 2015. So this was the first time I ever... No, it was the second time, because the E3 build was the first time I ever got to show it to anybody. The thing at E3 was I got to show it at the Show and Tell lounge for Indiecade, which was kind of like a, hey, we didn't select your game, but since you applied, you know, if you reply to this email within a certain amount of time, we'll let you show the game for like 2 hours at our Show and Tell thing or whatever. So that was fucking cool. I almost crashed the car when I got the email to that. Cal was in the car with me, and yeah, I basically, I knew the sound of the email I had for that particular email address, and I knew it was something important, so I pulled out my phone and gave it to Cal and told her to tell me what it was, and it was like that whole thing I just said. So I gave her all my information, and she was typing stuff while I was driving, and when she secured the spot, I freaked out, and just like, we had to stop the car because it was so fucking awesome. So anyway, this is the build that I had at Indiecade proper, which was another situation where I also got to kind of do a show and tell type thing. It wasn't officially at Indiecade. It was more like, again, sorry, we didn't, choose your game, but we're giving you a chance. Yes. Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. So this was the first time I showed the 3D like camera stuff to people. So this is super intense. Let's see. Yeah, this was the first time I got the game running with a 3D camera on the right side. So again, everything is 3D just because it's Unity, but I started messing more with depth. So you can tell on the left-hand side, there's a shadow for the right ship. Again, this is, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, so this is also when I started using voxels. So once I started using voxels is when I really started to experiment with 3D, because now the ships had depth. So if you can tell, I know, it's kind of not that great. I don't know what device you're watching on or whatever, but the left ship, it's not a sprite anymore. It's actually a 3D object. So you can kind of see when I'm moving the camera left and right, the wings of the ship actually kind of go under the ship. Stupid little things, right? That, like, I guess if you're into this kind of stuff, is like super rad. But yeah, it's just, this kind of stuff is just crazy. So to keep your score, you must exit. Like, even I have to remember what my controls are here. So yeah, I don't let you shoot or anything. Oh, I actually do. Okay. So, okay. So yeah, back in the day, like, the weapons didn't use any of your fuel. Fuel was only used when you move. So what I do here is, notice on the left-hand side on the bottom over here, there's a D-pad with your power cell. And on the right-hand side, you have the bro, which is the big red object. And then you have your weapons in the center. So that's obviously showing you what button to press to, you know, whatever weapon you want to use or whatever. There's a cooldown that you can't tell in this version of it, but yeah, you single tap the trigger. Yeah, I don't have missiles yet because I need to upgrade it. So let's see, right-hand side. Okay, yeah, triangle or Y on the Xbox controller is using parts, and square is using material. Okay. So let's start this up and see what happens. Oh, fuck. Okay, I forgot. So, fuck, look at this pause screen. This is terrible. It's just way too much. Like, who the hell is going to pause the game and actually read through this, let alone remember it, right? So that's kind of where the whole idea of, like, how do I make a game that tells you what you need to do without, like, just beating you over the head with text? Because I hate that. I hate games that do that. So that's where it gets really, really hard. Also, like, on the right-hand side, you can tell that recovery ship is nowhere near what it should be, because I forgot to update that. But nobody caught that. That's dumb as hell. So yeah. Let's see. Refuels of salt. Yeah, man. This is crazy. Okay. So what is options then? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. So let's start this up and see how this flows. And here I actually do have the controls where they are currently also. So they have more weight to them. So if you notice the ship, if I hit the right stick and move them, there's a little bit of weight to it. And if you let go, the ship kind of still keeps going. That's what I wanted from the very beginning. The one thing I am happy about in this build, though, is definitely, again, the frame rate. It's just, it holds up super well. The neat thing I liked about this version also was the score. So if you notice up top, that just looks fucking tough. Like, I like that big ass fucking score, all arcadey looking. And I don't think I had the recovery bonus yet. Yeah, no. So basically what would happen is if you, well, I'll describe that later in another version. And this was where you could use any weapon to kill any enemy. So, you know, I could use it to kill these guys. You don't get any points for those, so they're just kind of like sucking up your weapon. So there's nothing really cool happening there. And then, yeah. So that was your scatter shot. That's what it looked like back then. That fucking thing. I also hadn't experimented with emissive shaders yet either, which I don't want to, you know, start talking too much about the later versions, because I kind of want to see it all as it. It's hard to talk while I'm playing this. Shit, so that was my BFP. So that cleared out the screen. Notice there are no fire towers. So then they just start to bunch up around here. So see, there's 4 there. And, you know, now in this area it's super dangerous, but there's no benefit to it. Like, I'm not getting anything for being in this area. So I could just say, fuck this, and head out to this area where there isn't any, and just kind of like camp out while I kill these guys. And that's something that I learned by just watching people play it at like, especially at Indiecade, yeah, because I hadn't showed it at South yet. So I got to see how people were kind of cheesing that, and at the same time, it just wasn't fun. So yeah, it loses a lot of, it's super boring, essentially, because yeah, you can just let go of that side and not even pay attention to it. It's kind of dumb. But yeah, so on the left-hand side, notice that's where you have the power cells. So back then, what I wanted to do was allow you to store them. So let's go ahead and capture some here. And what you do is you use the D-pad to kind of like route them, you know what I mean, to each weapon that you wanted. So if you wanted the repeater, so okay, so that was a scatter shot. Left is scatter shot, down is bro, up is repeater. Yeah, so I don't have missiles yet. Okay, so let's just do repeater. So you upgrade your repeater, now you're at level 2. You have a faster rate of fire. And in the meantime, all this stuff is gathering up here. So I have 3. Oh, you need to have 4? Yeah. So let's upgrade repeater to max. Okay. So now it's super fast, right? So now what I can do is every power cell that I have, now I can start moving it to like the other weapons, I guess.
Material retreat.
Lost multiplier.
Material retreat. Material retreat.
And that's kind of the whole reason why I switched that over. Oh yeah, totally, man. I'm gonna show the game at E3 at the Mega Booth. Shit, so I died. So yeah, I mean that's basically that version. Man, it's just crazy to go back to this build.
Repair successful.
Okay, so that's a waste of a BFP. But yeah, you can kind of start to see how all this stuff is getting put together.
Repair successful.
Upgrade yet. There's a reason I removed that BFP of just tapping a button, because you just kind of waste your parts without really knowing. Let me see if I can leave to see what the game over screen is on this. So I need 4. Let's find 4 parts. Man, that scatter shot is shitty. Ah. Yeah, and the boost. I don't have boost on the right away. I think you had to get 4 parts or something. Let's find out. Okay, so that's awareness. I need 2 more for that. Ah, boost is on the right stick. So this was one of the builds where I put it on the stick instead. Yeah, there we go. That's what's going on there.